I always find it interesting when I'm talking to one partner and I say, out of all the options you had to heal yourself, to fulfill yourself, to meet your needs, why did you choose infidelity? And one of the first things they like to do is point fingers to their spouse. And I said, okay, listen, wonderful. I understand your spouse wasn't doing this. Your spouse wasn't showing you appreciation. Your spouse was withholding sex, whatever the case may be. But then I do a deeper dive and we find out they've had childhood trauma. They've had some traumatic experiences in their life. They have addictions, or they drink, or do drugs, or sex, addicts. Then we find out that one of their parents was emotionally withdrawn. And then we find out, something else and something else. So, and then I tell them, so listen, you had 10,000 straws on the camel's back. Then your spouse might have added one straw to that. And that just, obviously broke the camel's back, AKA had you go and step outside the relationship or the marriage. So why did you just answer me, it was my spouse's fault? Instead of, I'm not comfortable being emotionally vulnerable. I couldn't afford therapy. I didn't want to embarrass myself with therapy. I wasn't honest. I couldn't be transparent with my spouse. I didn't want to admit that I was abused when I was a child. We go right to our spouse's fault, right to our partner's fault, right to the fault of our significant other, which I understand. There's certain things that he or she didn't do, and maybe we have some previous resentment, some previous anger, some previous hostility. I get all that, although those are relationship issues. It has nothing to do with infidelity. So I guess I'm just saying that because if you're watching this and you're the person who was cheated on, you got to get it out of your head that you had anything to do with it. Because even if you had something to do with the marital issues, welcome to life. Every marriage has issues. But if you're also the person who steps outside the relationship, you need to do a deep dive and ask yourself the why. What was I trying to numb? What was I trying to fulfill? What was I trying to avoid? What was I trying to cope with? Why did I need a fantasy? And why couldn't I go to my spouse, my partner, my significant other, instead of choosing the worst possible option, which is to step outside your relationship?